You have my word.
Check. I'm gonna open up the poll too.
Great.
And then, because I haven't done these before, feel free to jump in and answer the poll as you're coming in. This will help us know a little bit more about how to share information with you throughout the presentation. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. There is a poll up as you're entering. Please feel free to fill out your answer so we have a better idea of whether this is a divided group of previous participants and brand new people, or if it's mostly seasoned pros. It'll just help us a little bit with the presentation. And to know if we can call out on some of you who have done this before. Shayna, you said you thought there would be 40 some participants.
Yeah, we've got
Okay.
about 35 people,
Great.
I think, that opted in. So we are just about at that 11 o'clock mark. So we'll give everyone maybe a minute or two to file into class. And like Erin said, we've got a poll up. So if you just came in, feel free to fill out that poll so we can get a sense of who's here. Hi, everyone, to coming in. Thank you so much for joining. We will get started in just a few minutes. We're just going to give everyone another minute or two. I said in my head, once we hit 30 participants, I would start. Now we're stalled at 29.
Oh, of course.
Who's it going to be? Who's number 30? There we go. All right, well, I'm gonna slowly get started here. Maybe a few more people will trickle in. We've got that poll up. If you haven't already taken that, if you want to fill that out, that would be great. And we will get everything started here. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our first of 2 planning sessions for One Day for Iowa. I am Shayna Spencer. If you participated in One Day for Iowa before, you probably recognize my face or my name, but I am your main point of contact for all things One Day for Iowa. I am part of the annual giving team here at the Center for Advancement, and we work very closely with our communications team to put this great event together. So Nicole Knoll is also here with me today, and she's going to take lead on the second half of today's session. Hello, Nicole. And we've also, Nicole is our senior digital marketing strategist and our social media genius, so she will have all the information on social for you. Oh, we have our poll up. Can everyone see this, or is this just my screen? Can anyone else see the poll?
I saw it too.
Okay.
I can.
I shared it, but I can't see it.
Okay, gotcha. So it looks like the majority of people either have participated before or their department has participated before. We've got a few people who this is their first event. So feel free to ask any questions. If there's something that I say that you don't understand, please feel free to go in the chat and let us know if you have a question. Erin's going to be monitoring the chat. We've got a few other team members that are also on today's session, so feel free to use that with any questions that come up throughout the session. So let's get started. So today we're going to go through kind of a One Day for Iowa overview, kind of what to expect on March 30th, and we'll share what resources we have available for featured areas, how you can find all of those. Nicole's going to talk all through social media planning, and then we will have plenty of time for questions at the end. So One Day for Iowa, March 30th this year, it is our 5th year that we're holding this event. We've got 93 featured areas that are signed up at the moment and over $129,000 of challenge dollars that are available on the day. If this is your first year participating, welcome. One Day for Iowa is our 24-hour online giving day. It's a really fun event. And our hope is that you guys are able to have a little bit of fun with this as well. I know there's a significant amount of work that goes into it, but at the end of the day, we just want everyone to have a good time. And obviously we want to see those funds come in. It's a great way to connect to your donor base. And it's also a really great way to expand your donor base and to be able to engage with like recent grads, first-time donors, your younger audience. So we start planning for this event like 6 to 7 months in advance. So there's quite a bit of work that's being done behind the scenes. And a big thank you to everyone on our team who's putting everything together. But the growth that we've seen over the past few years is really because of you guys, and major kudos to all of you for continuing to advance and grow your programs. And hopefully this session will help you continue that. So past results here, you can see there's one minor thing missing from this, right? The dollars. So we do track dollars. We do have that information. But what we really track and what we really focus on is our donor growth. So we look at the gifts that have come in, we look at the donors, and we want to see those numbers grow throughout the years. And we also take a look at our engagement on social media as well, year over year. So one of the reasons that our focus is on increasing that donor count is because what we're really trying to do is engage as many new donors as possible on One Day for Iowa. Again, it's a really great way, it's a really great entry point for that younger audience or for new donors. Again, because it's fun, it's a great way to connect to your donors. It's a great way for your donors to connect to one another and participate in supporting the university. And we hope that you're able to increase your donor base and then maintain a relationship with those new donors for years to come. So let's.
There was a quick question in the chat about, is the donor growth here new donors between years or just total donors?
Great question. No, this is not new donors. So these are the donors to One Day for Iowa year over year. So this is our growth just on One Day for Iowa. Good question. All right, so let's take a look at the website. So our website, oneday.uiowa.edu. You can bookmark this now. Actually, Erin, if you wouldn't mind, can you maybe put this link in the chat so people have the live link? That would be great. So you can bookmark this, and this the site is going to have the same look and feel that we've had over the last few years. We're going to have featured areas, there'll be a leaderboard, challenges, everything that you have come to expect from One Day for Iowa. But we've made some improvements. So based on past user experience and some feedback that we've gotten, we have made some updates that hopefully will enhance and simplify our site for you guys. So on the right here, this is what our homepage currently looks like. Our team is hard at work getting everything updated so that we will eventually be able to go live with the site on March 1st. So again, bookmark this link so that you can keep an eye on changes and be ready once we do go live. Once we are live, you'll be able to see that we'll have a navigation. You'll be able to find your area, find challenges, all of that good stuff, So let me just call out a few things so you know what to expect once we do go live. So featured areas, all participating areas are going to be categorized and searchable. So each featured area will fall into one of, I think, 8 buckets, and users will be able to search for your area. That is, if they don't have the custom link that takes them directly to your Give page. Leaderboard. Leaderboard is going to be on the homepage this year. So our homepage is going to get a little bit of a makeover. So hopefully it'll make it easier for you to track your success. You're not going to have to click around to find your leaderboard. It'll be right there on the homepage. Challenges. This year, we are not going to have a quote unquote challenges page. Instead, it's going to be broken up. So we're going to have a match and unlock page. And then we're going to have a social media bonus dollars page. So that is an update from last year. We heard from a lot of you that the social media challenges were a little bit difficult to find. They felt a little bit hidden. So we wanted to call those up to the navigation, make it really easy for you to get there. So that is a little bit of a change this year that you can see. And then I'll go out of order just briefly here. FAQ page. This, of course, will remain on the site as it has for past years. You can visit this page, direct donors to visit this page. If there are questions, we try and put as much on there as we can expect to see those questions come in. But of course, if there are questions outside of that, feel free to reach out to me. And then the last thing I want to point out is our resources page. So you can see that I have a little arrow pointing to the footer. This page is currently available on our homepage. So please remember to take a look at that and get familiar with that page after today's session. That it is available on the homepage now in the footer. It will always continue to be available on the homepage in the footer from now all the way through One Day for Iowa. So get familiar with that, and you can always visit that for anything that you might need. This page is what we have previously perhaps called the spread the word page. We have perhaps previously called this a toolkit. Everything that you guys need as a featured area is going to be within this page. It is going to be your one-stop shop for featured areas. Everything that you'll need to download, any form you need to fill out, announcements, all of that. So diving into what that will look like a little bit, the first section of our resources page is going to have these 3 callouts. First one there is our unlock and matching challenges. So if you have a donor who comes to you and says that they're interested in sponsoring a match or an unlock for One Day for Iowa, you can send them right here and they can fill this form out. You can fill this form out for them, preferably as soon as possible so that I have all of that information and can pass that along to the team to get everything set up. The second call out there is training, which is what you're attending right now. So you probably won't need to worry about this one. But if you have someone who wants to attend next week's session, you can send them to this page and they can fill out this form as well. And then the last one, I'm going to get into a little more detail in just a moment. But after we are done with today's session, you will be able to follow this link to opt in for reporting and an email list. I see a few questions coming in.
And the question was about moving assets outside of Dropbox. So even on the resources for featured areas page where those resources are, it goes to Dropbox. So we can look into moving that somewhere else that's more accessible and share them with our healthcare colleagues. And we'll just have to get an update on that. We'll need to discuss it.
Great. Thanks.
We'll find a way.
All right, so let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
So
yeah, these are the ones that I'll go to Dropbox.
Yes, these are also going to be on the resources page. This is our logo, Instagram story graphic that are downloadable directly from that page. And the following slide also has some sample posts and graphics that you guys will be able to download. We're going to go to the next slide, Nicole. And you can take these, download these, use these as you can use them and edit the sample text and use the graphics, save the date prior to One Day for Iowa. Obviously, the One Day for Iowa one is there. And then the thank you one, which should be used after One Day for Iowa is over that Thursday. And then a little more on our email and reporting. So we have that call out there right on the resources page to opt in for email and reporting. So we do ask that you fill out this form for one or both of these things if you want to opt in. You are not automatically opted into either of these. So please make sure that you visit the resources page and do opt in if that is something that you would like. The deadline for this is March 2nd to opt in for both of these items. So email, sorry. So email, you can opt in to receive an email list, and we'll also give you some sample text for that email. The list will be made up of alumni if that applies to your area. And if it does not apply to your area, your list will have past donors. So there's so much variety with the featured areas who participate in One Day for Iowa. So there's not kind of a blanket statement of what those lists are going to look like, but our data department does an excellent job of pulling that information and making sure that you have a very valuable list on that day if that's something that you want to opt in for. So you'll receive your list on Monday, which is the 28th. Your email will need to be sent out on Tuesday, which is the 29th. And that fits in with kind of our larger email strategy. We do not send any emails on that Tuesday. So that is a great time for you to be able to reach out to your people. So that's kind of why we have it set up that way. And then just one final note on email is that this list, of course, should only be used for your One Day for Iowa email outreach on that day. It is not to be used for any additional solicitations, any other reason. Okay, so reporting, you've got two options for reporting, and all of this is also explained on the form. So when you go to fill this out, all of that info will be there. You have two options for reporting. You can opt in for day of reporting and or final reporting. So if you opt in for day of reporting, you're not automatically opted in for the final report. So please make sure to check both of those boxes if you are interested in having all of the reports sent to you. So people who opt in for day of reporting, that's typically going to be if you are if part of your plan is to be reaching out to those donors throughout the day. So if you want to get that report so that you can follow up and say thank you right away, if that's part of your plan, if you have the people to do that outreach and the time to do that outreach, and you want to make sure that you're staying on top of that throughout the day, that's really why we want to provide those reports throughout the day. If you don't plan on reaching out to donors and you don't have that in your strategy really to communicate with those folks until the following day, then a final report should be just fine for your area. But again, we want to make sure that we have day of reporting available in case that is part of your plan, so you can make that, that decision for your area. We will pull the report, the day of reports, at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. on March 30th. There's a little bit of manual work to actually get them sent out to you. So don't expect to have the report at 11 a.m. They typically are sent out between in the next hour. So between 11 and noon, you'll get your first one. Between 4 and 5, you'll get that second one. And then if you opt in for the final report, that will be sent to you on Thursday, on March 31st. All right, now I'm done, Nicole.
No problem. All right, so custom giving links. Many of you that have been here before remember these. Every year we will provide custom giving links that will go directly to your featured areas giving funds where people can give directly to you. So you don't have to explain to them how to pull you up, how to search for you, how to do that. These go directly to your landing pages so that people can put in their giving information and get right to it. We want to be as direct as possible. One of the best parts about these links too is that they have tracking behind them, and you can see kind of what we've seen in the last 3 years. This is how many sessions to our website they've brought in. This is how many gifts that were trackable. They're not exact numbers. These are just estimates. We're using Google tracking behind them. They show, if somebody lands on the page using your giving link and they click around a bunch on the site and then come back and give, we lose the tracking. But this is a really nice way to see effectiveness and see how the giving links are doing and see how different marketing efforts are done, right? That's how you make strategic decisions going forward and seeing how we can improve things for all of you going forward. So I would just encourage everybody to use these links whenever you're posting on social. Use your LinkedIn emails if you're sending out newsletters, giving awareness of it. If you're going to write little blog posts or write-ups on your website, or do a One Day for Iowa takeover on your homepage if possible, use these links, give now, do the call to action. It's great. And I have some other best practices for how to incorporate it into social media in a little bit.
All right, so another great thing about One Day for Iowa is the challenges that we have. So I'm going to talk through matching and unlocking challenges first. On the left there, you can see the list of matching unlock challenges. Some of the matching unlock challenges that we have, there's some that are unconfirmed. There are some that are still coming in. So this is just a list of kind of where we're at, so you can get a sense of the things that are going to be available this year. Matching and unlocking challenges are a really great way to motivate donors, to get them excited about their gift, because it means that their dollars are going to go further, right? Their $20 gift is going to be worth $40 when they make a gift to engineering, which has a $4,000 matching gift available. It's also a really great way to increase your visibility on One Day for Iowa. So these challenges are all donated by generous donors, obviously. And so they are giving this gift for One Day for Iowa. They want to inspire others to give to the university on this day. So that's why they're choosing to make this gift on One Day for Iowa. They do hold a place on our match and unlock page, which is why that visibility increases so much for these areas. But it is up to each individual featured area who has a challenge to promote their own challenge. So we will promote that we have challenges on this day, and we will help to spread that word and to promote the unlock and lock, the match and unlock page that we have. But we wouldn't, for example, share a post that said Hampshire has a $2,500 match. Go give to Hampshire. So it really is up to each of those individual areas to promote their own challenge and talk about the fact that they have this available to their donors. So again, unlock and match gifts are a really great way to secure extra funding on One Day for Iowa. Really great way to get that extra visibility, but not everyone has that ability that day. We understand that. So if you don't have a match or an unlock for your area, fear not. We have plenty of opportunities for everyone else as well, which will lead us into our next slide.
I'm going to stop and say something about what questions in the chat real quick. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't have the tracking URLs until March 1st when the site goes live. But for any kind of marketing that you can get out there before that needs to be submitted in February, please use the homepage URL for now. Unfortunately, it won't have tracking, but at least it'll still go to the website. And then if it's released in March, it's still going there, and it still has that effectiveness to it. Sorry about that. We are making note though. Thank you.
All right. So we have challenges that are available for everyone. If your area does not have a match and an unlock challenge, no worries, we can participate in these. So we've got leaderboard challenges, we've got recent grad challenge, and we've got some social media challenges. So leaderboard is going to be on the homepage, like I mentioned this year, so it'll be nice and easy to find that. There are $40,000 up for grabs on the leaderboard challenge. So the way that this works is that the leaderboard is going to track the number of gifts that come in for each area. So the dollar amount doesn't, I mean, of course the dollar amount matters, but the dollar amount does not matter on the leaderboard. It is going to be ranked by the number of gifts that come in for each area. Top 10 areas on that leaderboard at the end of the day are going to receive a chunk of that $40,000 added to their area. So that's our leaderboard challenge. Recent grad and student challenge. We've got $20,000 available here. So the first $20,000 given by graduates from 2011 to 2021 or from current students will be matched. So those first $20,000, no matter what area they give to, those dollars will be matched up for the first $20,000 that come in. And then we have social media challenges. Nicole's going to go into detail about these, but we have $14,000 available for all of the different social media challenges that we will have active throughout the day. And again, all of these, anyone can participate in these. So anyone can win extra dollars using a social media challenge. Anyone can raise extra dollars using that recent grad challenge. And anyone can make it to the top 10 areas of the leaderboard. So make sure that you're communicating with your donors that these extra dollars are up for grabs, and they can participate in multiple ways. And then one last challenge that I wanted to talk through before I hand things off to Nicole is our HAWKEYE Nation Challenge. So you may remember this from previous years, but this year we have decided to put some money behind it. So HAWKEYE Nation Challenge, it will be featured on the homepage. So you won't have to go searching around for it. It's on the homepage there with the leaderboard. And throughout the day, you will see this map light up with the gifts that come in from all across the country. And the way the dollars are going to work is that the last 2 donors from the last 2 states to be filled in will earn an extra $500 towards the area that they are supporting. So at the end of the day, make sure that you're reaching out to your, probably Alaska and Montana donors to make sure that they know One Day for Iowa is going on. And I will hand over to you, Nicole.
All right. So we're going to talk about the hashtag real quick. Very important too in measuring the success of One Day for Iowa. We can see how many of you guys participate. We can see how much of a united effort it is on One Day for Iowa by the use of the hashtag. It populates a social media feed on our website that you can see, and you can see what other people are doing very easily just by looking at the hashtag on the different channels. It's really fun to see the growth in it, especially with the hashtag uses on the actual giving day. It almost doubled from 2019 to 2021, which is exciting. And a lot of that has to do with the photo challenge. It's always been very popular, and it's a really great way to get involved. And that is backed by popular demand. One thing I did want to note about the hashtag is a usability issue. I know that campus is doing a great job shining light on usability, especially for social media and online pieces like the website and email. You want to make sure to capitalize Day for and Iowa in the hashtag when you're using it on social media. That's especially important because readers, for people that have disabilities, when they actually go and it reads the tweets or the Facebook posts to them, if the F isn't capitalized in for, it pronounces day for as like one word, and it just doesn't quite resonate the same. It's a lot cleaner if they're all capitalized. It's easier to read. And you don't want to capitalize everything because then it would look like one word again to them. It's really important to use the hashtag. It also helps gain visibility because you can get engagement from people that are looking around at all the different posts on One Day for Iowa. And using the hashtag also encourages your audience to use the hashtag in return, and that could earn you extra dollars during different challenges. And speaking of social media challenges, we've tweaked the challenges from year to year to optimize the ones that were really popular this previous year. You want more of what the people are clearly engaged with. And that helps not only One Day for Iowa, the University of Iowa, but it helps all of you as well. Because the more that people are engaged, the more likely that it can help any given area, depending on what they want to support. The 2 that are for Facebook this year will live actually on the pages of the 2 accounts. The University of Iowa Center for Advancement will post a Facebook prompt on one of our posts asking a question and about being always a Hawkeye. And then the University of Iowa will also prompt something related to the 175th anniversary on their Facebook page. And how people win money is that a random comment on those posts will be selected to win money. And that's just an easy way to get people engaged. You can wait until the posts are up and then direct people over there on Facebook. I encourage people not to share these posts on your own business accounts on Facebook, because comments made on your post on your page will not count. It has to be comments actually on those posts. And we will add a hyperlink in here. Right now they go to the Facebook pages. We can add a link there on the day that actually goes to the post to make things easier. And then, like I said, backed by popular demand, this one gets bigger and better every year. It's super fun to see. all the different black and gold pride on One Day for Iowa. It's probably one of my favorite parts is the photo challenge and looking at all the different entries. This year we've upped our game. There's going to be 20 different winners and they're winning more each. Each winner will get $500. In the past, I think it's been like $250 and some other amounts, but this year we're going big, 20 $500 winners. So get your entries in there. And this is a great one to promote before One Day for Iowa, because any entries made basically between now and One Day for Iowa, preferably in March, like probably when you'll want to actually start promoting, will be entered into the photo challenge. So it's basically anytime between now and midnight on One Day for Iowa. Let's see. And then Paul shared that debate secured new followers and donors as a result of the hashtag and photo challenges. So that's really great to see. That's exactly what we want to see. We want these challenges to benefit everyone, even if it's not just a monetary amount. We're choosing social media challenges that will engage our donors, your donors, all of our donors. So it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be HAWKEYE pride. It's supposed to be that stuff that really engages on social media, and that's by design. And then also backed by popular demand. So the University of Iowa, I'm not sure how many people saw this last year, but the University of Iowa had a Instagram story challenge that they posted last year where people could where they would ask the HAWKEYE audience, which is largely students and recent grads, to direct message them a photo to their account for a chance to appear on their Instagram. And the University of Iowa Instagram account has a ton of followers. So that's a really nice, enticing, not just like random ones will win money, but people just really like seeing their photos on the University of Iowa story. Like how exciting would that be as a student? I think that'd be really cool. And so this year we're upping that too. And so there'll be 12 submissions, will randomly be selected. Each one will win $250. And this again, you don't have to be a student or a recent grad. Anybody who submits a photo is in for a random selection and is in that pool to possibly win $250. And one note on that, it did so well that at the time when it was posted during One Day for Iowa last year, it was the most engaging Instagram story for the University of Iowa at that time. It had over 100 submissions and it did really, really well. And that was the first time they'd seen something for One Day for Iowa for the photo count for Instagram story. So that was a new thing that we tried last year and had over 100 participants. So hopefully it'll get even more this time. And people that have been here before probably recognize this section of the training. So I'm just going to walk through some great examples of what other areas had done in previous years, things that were really engaging, really got people's attention and just did really well, won the area lots of money, and just really up that participation. We're starting with the National Eye Club, the fundraising arm of athletics, the annual giving. So they used a track to show the progress toward their goal to raise $40,000 to provide a year student athlete experience for a student. So that's what this is right here, this little track going in a circle. And so it slowly filled in as I got closer to that 40,000. And then they also leveraged an asset that maybe not all of us have, but they use their influencers, which are past graduates and past athletes that are well known to fellow Hawkeyes and people that follow their account. So, I mean, they had Ricky Stanzi tweeting, they had Gary Dolphin, Megan, they had just really recognizable names posting in support of I'm giving during One Day for Iowa. You know, I'm giving to help support other student athletes have an experience like I did. And it was really powerful coming from those influencers. So like your faculty and staff, those are your influencers, people that are invested in your area and who benefit from getting the money that is raised during One Day for Iowa. Even if it's not really recognized in like the whole world, like your niche of that area of your giving area, like who's your celebrity, who's well known? Is there a professor, is there a dean, is there someone that people recognize from your area? That would be a great resource to tap. And they don't even need a large audience. As long as it's the right audience, it can go really far. And then sport and rec management, they also did a great job. They were posting like what was previously said in the chat. They posted to a newsletter. They had a story on their website. They used the link, our graphics, and they were encouraging engagement on One Day for Iowa. They really did a great job getting photo submissions for photo challenge, and reminding people that it's not just about giving. They can also participate in those challenges and also have a big impact on sport and rec management. Like the recent grads, especially, they could participate without actually having to give a lot. HAWKEYE Marching Band always does a great job. Lots of black and gold photos coming from them. They had over 50 photo challenge entries last year. They did a big campaign. It was actually in collaboration, so they actually had their own hashtag that they were like trying to get people to share their HAWKEYE marching band memories using both the hashtags. And so they were kind of they had like a micro campaign within the larger one that was really effective, and it really resonated with their audience. There was a lot of black and gold photos. They were able to unlock their giving challenge. They participated heavily in the social media challenge we did last year, where people were filling in the blank on Twitter. And they participated heavily for the Get Challenge. I mean, they just dissected each thing and did a call to action for all of them. So people knew, almost like a checkbox, how they could participate and benefit HAWKEYE Marching Band that day. Spirit Squad, I thought this one was really creative. They were raising funds it was really nice that they could specifically call out something that the funds were going to benefit. And it was something really visual, so that they had the flags. And they showed the progression when it was, as they were raising money, they were filling in the flags for how much of a percent they were to their goal. And it was just something really easy to follow, especially on Twitter. It was very visual. You could follow along. The yellow really pops on those images. And it was just a really effective way. And then they had Laura Vandenberg actually introduce the challenge at the very beginning of the day. And then they switched to images to show progression. So just showing that like update, so people don't necessarily have to go to the site to see the update. It's really interesting to see. Honors had a challenge again. So here they had someone that people recognized, if they raised over $1 more than what they were able to raise last year, he was going to dump some water on his head. And then he delivered the day after. He actually had a video of them pouring water over his head the next day as part of their thank you message for raising funds that day. And then they also had 2 winners into the photo challenge. And so I just want to throw that out there. Like, just because you won one of the photo challenge prizes doesn't mean you're done and your area is over. You can win multiple photo challenge entries in a day. And then I just had some examples of different things that you can do that in my analytics showed that resonated really well with donors. So especially on Facebook, we have some posts that I can see through EverTrue, which a lot of you guys are probably familiar with, where we use EverTrue to see donor engagement on Facebook posts of University of Iowa pages. And so this one from Tippy did really, really well. They're calling out, let's see, how to unlock $10,000 worth of individual gifts. They were giving an update on the Unlock Challenge, and that one did really, really well for donors. So it could have been donors who participated in that challenge, people who were following along that day, or people who were just freshly getting involved for the first time. And then there's also these posts. I really like this international programs one. There were a lot of examples that were similar to this, where they were giving an update on their challenge. People really invested in the challenges, making sure that that money wasn't left on the table. They want to make sure that they reach those goals. And I just liked how they use the logo within their image. You don't really want to do a lot of graphics on the day or leading up to. Graphics tend not to perform as well in algorithms on different channels, but having a little graphic within an image can do really well. And these were still updates again, where people are want to make sure that their followers see how things are progressing. So here we have the Phoenix Iowa Club showing that they're behind the Memphis Iowa Club and the Tampa Bay Iowa Club and the number of donors for a challenge. And they wanted to make sure that they climbed to the top. So they just took a simple screenshot and pointed out which ones mattered, and made that sense of competition go. And that's the same thing that the sport and rec management did as well. They actually took a screenshot of the leaderboard. This one's a little blurry, but it was really clear on their actual post. And it just gives that like sense of, they got to do something now. We have to help. We have to do something. So that's kind of what you want to generate on social media, right? That conversation to get involved. UI Biology, they posted the graphic. So like I said, like graphics don't always do really well, but if you use 1 or 2, those rules are meant to be broken, right? Like, it's really recognizable, something different. If you use mostly images on your Facebook and other accounts, but then you throw in 1 graphic, it's not going to hurt things, right? Like, it's just mixing them up, and it's going to help that scroll factor. You want to stop, it's always about stopping those thumbs, right? So when people are on social media, they're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. About 99% of our audience that comes to our website from social are on their phone. And so you're trying to get them to stop long enough to actually read your post. A graphic that they're not used to seeing, that would stop them. So Biology probably doesn't post a lot of these logos. So that when they came to this, it stopped them. And Tippy did the same thing. Like, this was a great image too, because at the time, this image of the girl standing up to the bull was in the news a lot. And then when you add an Iowa scarf, that's a little bit something different than what they were seeing in the news. So it stopped them long enough to read the post. And that was really interesting. And then here's another integration of using the logo, images, and making sure the branding's on there. This is how the public health promoted the photo challenge. It could be really fun and shout out, really short way to get the rules out there to get people involved. And another good thing about this is that there's one image. It's really impactful, especially on mobile, if you just use one image, as opposed to using like 3, 4, or more. Those become smaller to make room for them on the post. While if you use one impact black and gold example photo, a photo challenge, it can do really well. And more examples of getting that thumb stopping, right? So when you're scrolling and you see someone maybe crying, you're like, what is this about? Like, you'd like stop and ask, like, why is there someone crying on my social media feed? Well, I mean, it makes more sense when you see that it's from the Department of Theater, right? Oh, it's a play, and you kind of make those connections. And so I think these 3 did a great job finding an image that worked for their channel, worked for their audience. You guys know who you're reaching out to better than I do. You know your audiences and what resonates. You can see in your analytics what kind of posts do better. And you can adapt those from One Day for Iowa and have a great impact. And then this is just the last 2 here, just showing examples of thanking donors after One Day for Iowa. You can use the numbers that are on the leaderboard at the end of the day to say like what the progress was for your area. Again, use nice photos, something impactful here, a video of a thank you. One thing about the thank you I did want to point out, we saw in previous years that sometimes people will start thanking at the end of people's day, like at 5 p.m. on One Day for Iowa, but it goes till midnight. So we just encourage thank you messages to be kept until March 31st so that there isn't a feeling of finality to it. You want to thank them after it's actually over, not as it's going. Because thank you and give call to actions kind of can be conflicting in messaging. So you want to be very clear with your messaging. Are you asking to give? Are you thanking? And making sure you know when to do that. And I've covered a lot of these. This is more just for when you want to look at the slide again, slides later. Social media tips. You want to make sure that you're laser focused. You have one message per post and then plan accordingly. You don't want to have a paragraph about photo challenge, a paragraph about how to give, a paragraph about matching challenges, right? You know, those are 3 different posts, and then you can schedule them out as you go. You want to make sure that each message has one call to action. I'd recommend one image, but again, if you have a good reason for multiple images, the rules are made to be broken. You know your audience. Include the One Day for Iowa hashtag, and if you have a micro campaign, you can include that hashtag as well. You don't want to go crazy with the hashtags, keep it minimal but effective. And again, with one link, you want to stress that, and that should be your giving link for especially anytime after March 1st. Because even if they want to see the homepage or they want to see challenges, they can still get there. You don't want to do a giving link and another link to different things, right? One message, one link, laser focus. And during the day and even before, make sure you're engaging with the donors. Are people liking? Are people commenting? Are there questions? Absolutely answer those. And if there's a question on one of your posts that you don't necessarily know the answer to or you're unsure about, you can reach out to Shayna. She's happy to answer that question and help convey what that answer is. Yeah, use GIFs, retweets, engage with other posts. You know, you can even comment on other people's posts during One Day for Iowa and amplify them. I know that thanking posts that are tagging you in their photo challenges would be a great thing to do. That gets more visibility on them, helps more people see those posts and be like, what's going on here? You know, and then they can go check out what's happening. And especially if you're commenting on that and they see those posts by their friend who may also know your account, you can gain followers that way. If you're commenting on people who are submitting photo challenges for you, they might click on your the hyperlink of your page name, go to your page and like it, right? It's really hard to get those followers. So it's a nice way to get engagement. Let's see. And then, like I said, you know your audience better than anyone. What's kind of like a fun hook that you can do that's custom to your area that only you guys can have fun with, right? That unique thing, that unique spin is really fun to find. And then I get this question a lot is how much should you post on One Day for Iowa or leading up to it? You got to do what works for you, right? So I'm recommending March 1 through 29. You want to work on those awareness, engagement, education posts, right? Social challenges, what the challenges are going to be, where the money is going, things like that, that you can help educate so that on One Day for Iowa, that's when you do the big giving push. That's where you're like, hey, you've seen these posts, give now, this is where it all goes. This is, this is the time. It has that urgency on the day. So even though gives count beforehand, it's the day of that you really want to push the giving because that's when the hype is happening. Otherwise,
we've got a question. Sorry, we've got a question.
Okay.
About what's the best practice for posting links on Instagram? Do you recommend Linktree, something else?
Katie Linder is another digital strategist here, and I'm just going to read her answer. So she replied to the Instagram question. The giving link in your bio is the best option. If you are doing stories, you can paste your link directly in the story slide. She said it exactly how I was going to say it. So same mind, that works. Instagram, I'll admit we have trouble with that too, with the links. It's just not, Instagram is just one of those that they want to do videos. That video algorithm is coming out, and even the photos, it's hard to get links going, right? It's hard to drive traffic from Instagram. So we feel you there. And that's why I did want to mention like Instagram Reels, that's the new hot thing. Instagram switched their algorithm recently where they're heavily favoring people who are creating Reels over beautiful photos on their feeds now. Something to keep in mind, it applies to business accounts as well. And then the Facebook stories are still ever present. So if you haven't played with those, you can always post a thing about One Day for Iowa and see how it goes. And then timeline. So I'll turn it back over to Shana.
Thank you. All right, so timeline, March 1st, as we've said a million times here, the website is going to be live. And at that point, we will be accepting gifts, and those gifts will be counting for One Day for Iowa. Of course, all of our promotion, our push is for March 30th, but the site technically is accepting and counting gifts from March 1st. So you can keep that in mind. And if those early gifts start rolling in, that is great. Also on March 1st, the save the date email will be sent. So that'll be our first communication out to our donor base. March 9th, we will be hosting another Q&A session. So we did this for the first time last year, and it seemed to be helpful for you guys. So we're going to host that again this year. It's much more of an open forum than this. Bring any questions that you have. We can talk through any messaging that you might be stuck on. It's really just an hour for us to reconnect and talk. And even if you don't have questions or concerns, sometimes it's helpful just to come and if you hear somebody else's question and it might spark an idea for you. So that will be happening March 9th, and probably it's going to be over the lunch hour, and I will provide a Zoom link for that as we get close. And then March 28th, if you opt in for an email list, you will March 28th, March 28th, the reminder email from us is going to be sent out to that donor base. On March 28th, you will also receive your email list if you opt in for that. March 29th, featured areas can send that email. March 30th, of course, One Day for Iowa. And then March 31st, as Nicole just said, that's when you can start doing that thank you on social media. We try not to have any thank yous go out on social on the 30th, since of course, the day goes all the way up until midnight. So that is our timeline. Any questions that we can answer for you guys?
I just wanted to jump into and mention that on March 30th, during One Day for Iowa, there will be a chat function available on the oneday.uiowa.edu site. So if you're in the middle of something on that day, that chat is really going to be the best way to get a hold of us, because we're all running around like crazy within the Center for Advancement, but someone will be there who can answer a question you might have or a donor might have about making a gift on the 30th.
There's one question in here. Let's see. Did we address the one about receiving swag? Will the featured areas be receiving swag this year?
We have swag available. It's just knowing exactly what people have found helpful. If you want stress balls, we can fill your entire office with stress balls from a previous year. I just don't want to bombard Shayna with a bunch of requests, but we do have some that's available if anyone is
I was
interested.
just going to say I can't find that in the chat, but whoever that was that asked that question, please send me an email and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Hey Shayna, Kevin Salgi, Army ROTC.
Hello.
Has there been any adjustments made to the appearance of how things are going to appear, especially on mobile phones? I brought it up kind of in the after action comments last year with when they hit our link, they went to a page. If you're on a phone, all you saw was One Day for Iowa and a little link, Give Now. And I know I had several donors then go and hit Give Now, which took them somewhere else, and thought, have we made any adjustments to that so they know they're on the right page and scroll down vice?
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate that feedback that you gave last year. We did look into that to see if there are any adjustments that we can make. Unfortunately, that's the navigation of the site. So our logo is up in the header, as well as the give button is always in the header, as well as what I call the hamburger to get you to more of the navigation. So that's just the nature of being on a phone and having to scroll down to the page.
We're actually, Shayna, we're taking that off of the giving form. So
Oh, great.
yeah, so that was
I haven't seen that yet.
That was no, because the site's not live yet, but that was a development piece that we worked into with the changes that are being made this year. So that shouldn't be an issue for donors when they're on the giving form. If they're on another page, the logo will still appear, but not on the giving form itself.
Great. So then, Kevin, that won't be a problem because your link is going to take them right there. So we're good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
There's a question about email header on the resources page. Will that
We do not have that on the resources page at the moment. Katie or Nicole, do you know if that's going to be added?
That's something we can certainly add. I guess I would encourage, if you notice things that you've had access to in the years past or you have questions, maybe shoot Shayna a note and we can look at getting stuff added if there's enough of a request. But yeah, an email banner will be an easy thing to add. We'll have those anyway, so we can share it with you.
And then a reminder, if you are looking for the URL to use between, like if you're printing something now and you need to have a URL, it's the #1day.uiowa.edu, and I'll put that in chat again.
All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll probably hang on as people sign off, just in case anyone has any last questions they want to ask. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. We have another session next week, next Wednesday. It's later in the, I think it's at 3 o'clock next Wednesday. So if you want to join that one as well, if questions come up, please feel free to do so. If you want to pass this along to any of your colleagues who you'd like to join one of these sessions, please do that as well. And just a reminder to visit that resources page to take a look at everything that we have for featured areas, and shoot me an email if you guys have any questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording just so that if anyone has questions, they can ask off the record.